Hi, and welcome to the Market Alert for Thursday, the 11th of March 2021. So here's a mouthful. Stimmy vote sinks dollar, bids Bitcoin and big caps to record highs. The great experiment begins. Oh yes, it's a very interesting experiment that's been going on for 13 years, but now this is just the start of the serious printing, as we'll see in just a moment. So the House passes the 1.9 trillion stimulus. Next up is Biden's desk, and no Republicans voted for it. So this is an interesting one, isn't it? And here comes trillions more. Biden will unveil the next phase of the COVID response on Thursday. Even though, obviously, COVID is disappearing, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to launch the next phase of the COVID response and explain what we will do as a government and what we will ask of the American people. Well, we know what they're going to do. They're just going to keep printing now into oblivion. That's what they're going to do. Everything's coming up COVID for much public spending, even as the virus fades, which is what I've just said. So again, this is all just going to continue. It's going to be print and print and print. 10-year yield tumbles to session low after the superb 10-year auction. Fed's obviously stepped in here as well, just as expected. So this has had an impact on the yield. You can see they're down down to 1.526, whereas we'd had a high over the last few days of, drumroll, 1.6. As we saw there, 1.61 was the high. And implied volatility, the impact of the stimulus, 1968 down to 1934, and remaining amber at the moment. We could actually see a situation where we go back to normal just for a short period, because the market's continuing to make those highs. And news, what have we got? The money's got to go somewhere, of course, all of those stimulus checks. Yes, it's Thursday, and we've got European news, as I mentioned yesterday. Lagarde's out later today. You've got monetary policy statement, main refinancing rate, ECB conference. The refinancing rate is going to remain at zero. And we've got the 30-year bond auction from the US, so that's another one that's going to be interesting as well. And that's at 6 p.m. And of course, this is going to be the start of printing all these bonds and buying back bonds. The bond market's going to be very active over the next few weeks, that's for sure. Okay, let's have a look at the market's reaction to all of this yesterday. Well, of course, it's a foregone conclusion. You can see the Dow moving sharply higher there, driving through, making new all-time highs. And talking of all-time highs, we've got overnight all-time highs as well. So we're already up to 32,466 for the Dow on the overnight, and it just continues to move to the upside, which you can see there. That's the overnight 5-minute of the Dow, and price is just continuing to move to the upside there. You can see that's all they've done is move up 150 points so far. So I think it's a bit of an interesting one to see where prices are going to go today. And in the German DAX, on the daily chart, to get the right one, again you can see exactly the same there. Once we broke out of this sideways move here, you can see that price is now just continuing to move to the upside. And again, at new all-time high for the Dow overnight. I think, let's have a look at yesterday, 585. I mean, it doesn't really make any difference, does it, because it's going to do it anyway. 585, 589. So yeah, already moving to the upside. So taking out this morning's high is going to be interesting, which you'll see is not this one. That's the 585. We've got a 589 in there somewhere. That might be the one. Just have a quick look. Yeah, that's the high there. So what I would do here, just for fun, is mark up this high, if it will let me. For some unknown reason it won't. There's obviously something going on here. Anyway, it's the high of 4 points higher than the high of yesterday. So overnight, price is doing exactly the same as the Dow, coming off the 200 MA there, previous day's close, sitting on the 200, had a dip below it, and now coming back. And as ever, let's just compress this a bit further so we can see where we are with all of the lines. We've got the DP down here if prices were to move lower. Got the high in the way here, so we've already, you can see we're already nearly 100 points higher than the DP. So really we're looking at the R1, R2 levels on the upside if prices do move to the upside. Downside, the DP is going to play a crucial role in holding prices at this level. So that's where I see the market. So just reset this, get ready to see what happens at 7 a.m. It's 6:45 as I record, and already you can see heading back towards this high. And the Dow, again, just a quick look, you can see that this is also moving back to those highs as well. 5-minute Dow there. Okay, let's have a look at yesterday. A lot going on. Unfortunately, my ETX account wasn't working properly. The website wasn't working properly, and so I missed the first part of the session, which you can see there. The market opened, they sold down to the DP, like I've just been talking about. That becomes crucial. You can see them buying back in here, and the 200 MA as well. Critical area. Market was brought back up to the close there. It's wild. I mean, it's up and down in each bar. It's not sort of any straight direction, and this was the way it was to pan out for most of the day as well. Now here you can see how they brought the market back, and you can see them buy back here and close back above the 20 bar moving average. The same here. We had a trade below. Prices traded below the 20 bar, but then came back, and this was the theme for the morning session, which I'll just whiz through. You can see how the 5 bar is now holding the market as it trades up to the high. The market stops at the high, which is where traders will get out and take profits. The market comes back to the previous day's close, which you'll see there. And what I've done is drawn in this new all-time high and seen if the market will close back above. Notice there's only the one red bar here as well, and that shows you how much strength the market's got when this happens. Again, they're trying to bring the market lower, but it's picked up again by the 20 bar moving average. Prices above the 5 bar, and this is how it just played in the morning. It just kept moving quietly to the upside, back to make new all-time highs, and then eventually, as you can see there, had another spike to the upside. A few red bars in between, but until we get a change in the main trend in the daily chart, this is how it's likely to be that they're going to keep moving the market to the upside. At some point, they're going to have a breather and take profits, because the markets are seriously overvalued and have been for years. But it just goes to show what can be achieved if you just keep creating and printing funny money. It's as simple as that. So we had the CPI figures out yesterday. We just go back a day, see if it will let me do that. CPI figures came out at 130. They were exactly the same as forecast, actually a bit slightly better here. We know this is complete BS. We know that they're manipulating the data with regards to this. Nonetheless, it was a relief. There's no inflation. Yeah, right. But so that was enough for the market to move back to the upside, as we see here. And then prices opened in the cash market on the Dow, and the DAX just followed suit. It was a bit wild. Actually, the Dow moved higher and the DAX moved lower. It wasn't quite happy to move at this point with prices trading sideways. They were doing their best to hold, but you can see here they moved prices slightly lower just to fill, which is a pain because it was between 62 and 78% retracement. But nonetheless, you could see immediately that this wasn't going to hold as they brought back into the market. You can see it. So a case of either exit or stay till taken out. Then we had a potential buy signal that was filled to make up what happened in the first trade there, and up to this area here. And as the market was waiting for the crude oil news, This has been an interesting one as well, which you'll see in just a moment. Prices started to accelerate to the downside, and as they headed towards the BRN and the 5-bar moving average, it was a case of let's just take the money. Then the market reversed and then started to trade sideways to lower, bringing it back, and it just became really choppy and sideways as it waited for the crude oil numbers, which you'll see in just a moment. So you can see they're very choppy. And then again, you've got a quick red bar to the downside. It seems to be a classic one at the moment. And then you'll see prices just trading here to 78% with a higher volume bar than the previous bar. And then we get the news. So I'm just going to fast forward through to the news as prices continue to drift down to the R1. And somewhere here, just about here, you'll see that we had the crude oil inventories. And you can see that it was massive compared to previous week. Last week we had a 3 million barrel surplus. Now we've got a 13.8 million. But here you can see that that's the wrong one. That's not what I was after. Let me just grab the right caption for you there. That's completely the wrong one. So here you go. You've got that 13 million barrels surplus. And the news, happy days at the gas pumps are over as prices soar. So not only did we get the inflation coming back in at the same sort of level, which is complete and utter nonsense as we know, petrol prices, gas prices are starting to go through the roof in the US, and you're going to see the same in the UK as well, because obviously crude oil is a global product. And this is going to be the catalyst for the start of the inflation. So it's interesting again that they're still manipulating the inflation figures. They want hyperinflation to try and get out of the debt. And so here you go. That's what's behind the 13 million barrels. And I say bad news can be interpreted as good news. And of course, the market is then brought back, as we saw towards the end of the Dow session yesterday, charging all the way back up to the make new all-time highs. This wasn't reflected at 4:30 in the afternoon or 4 p.m. because that's when the Dow goes quiet. But by the end of the session, as you can see from here, there you'll see the market moving back to the upside. So the whole of the news regarding the crude oil was just ignored. So the market trading sideways and then eventually moving back to the upside there as the stimulus bill passes, and then the market reacting to this and already putting in a new all-time high as I record there. So we'll just have to see what happens when the futures market opens in 10 minutes time. Okay, a lot to get through again this morning, so I'll cut off at this point, and as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.